Hello again, everyone. This is Joe, and this is the technical analysis of the stock market video. Something has changed. All right, so what are we looking at here? This is Bill Murray with the groundhog. So Friday was Groundhog Day, and we saw the market with a huge collapse on Friday. So what's the connection here? I couldn't help but yes, I did watch this movie again Friday night. It's so funny. I've probably seen it, I don't know how many times, but you just, got a good kick out of it. I couldn't help but think, of course I'm sick, I'm thinking about the stock market while watching the Groundhog Day, that this whole concept of what has been going on, especially over the last 2 years in intermediate wave 5 to the upside, since February 2016, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. And in the movie Groundhog Day, Bill Murray's stuck in a cycle where every day he goes to sleep and he wakes up and it's the same thing again. It's Groundhog Day. It just replays a different version, but it's the same thing. He can't get out of it. It's Groundhog Day over and over and over again. It's like buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, until finally he gets the girl, they fall in love, they spend the night or whatever, wake up, and something has changed. Well, something's changed in the stock market too, and we're going to talk about that right now. So stay tuned. Okay, so let's talk about the Dow Industrials, which was down almost 666 points. Yes, 666 on Friday, closing nearly on its low, 30 points off its low. Actually, at one point it was down almost 700 points. And, big collapse, big close below the 21-day moving average for the first time since back here in the middle of November. And it's been down all week. Okay, we'll take a look at a weekly chart here in just a minute. Very, very negative. And, when you look underneath the covers, there's a lot of negative things going on too. We're going to touch on a couple of those. First of all, I want to look at a weekly chart. Here's the weekly chart. You could see how it closed down almost 1,096 points on the Dow Industrials, closing below the trading range of the last 2 weeks, and it's the lowest close of the last 4 weeks, okay? And yes, where do we close at the end of the year? Right in here at 24,719. We've already given back over 50% of the gains just in this 1 week move. Now, we're not below the 10-week moving average or anything like that yet, but it's a pretty big collapse that just happened this last week. Now, I've drawn in here a channel line. It connects minor wave 2 and minor wave 4, projects from the top of 3, and you can see we have thrown over the top of this channel. This is a channel for this last intermediate wave 5, okay? This is the channel for the entire move of primary wave 5 from the low in here. I should actually be able to pull that up a little bit. So right here from this low in March 2009, primary wave 5 waves up, and you can see the channel. And yes, we have thrown over that, and I will not be surprised to see us break back down out of this channel and break well into this channel fairly quickly. Well, we're going to find out real fast. Now, what is this line that I've drawn right in here? Well, this line at 21,293 is 20% from the high of last week, the previous week, not this last week, the week ending January 26th, okay? 20% off of that only puts it at a level back to June, July of last year. And at this point, everybody's going to go, you're in a bear market. Well, officially, they could say you're in a bear market when you're over 20%, but, I'm not sure I really buy into that. We break down into here. This is going to get real serious when it breaks out of this channel. And of course, here we are, and look how high we are above the 2007 financial crisis high back in here. So we've come a long way. We've gotten to extremes. It's going to be real interesting to see how fast this corrects. And I know I've talked about this many, many times. The market takes it back at least 2 to 3 times as fast as it gives it to you. Okay. So you can just look at time after time after time, and you can watch to see how fast the market will break down versus what it took to build that up. All right, so here's the that's the Dow Industrials. Let's take a look at the 52-week new high, new low. The big breakdown really occurred on Tuesday, okay? So this, on Tuesday, on the New York Stock Exchange, we went to 227 more 52-week new lows than highs for the day, and that was the lowest level, the highest reading of new highs over new lows. Of new lows over new highs, the highest reading of the last 2 years. So this entire move since February of 2016, we never got below minus 150, and then we broke below that, and then on Friday we closed at minus 307. So you think, well, okay, yeah, well, we're pretty low, Joe. Well, yeah, we're not even close to the bottom of intermediate wave 4, what happened in intermediate wave 4, much less what happened at the end of intermediate wave 2 back here in October 2011. You remember August to October 2011, don't you? That was when the government was in crisis, and President Obama and Speaker Boehner were going at each other and all of that. Here was the end of wave 2, wave 2. Here was the end of wave 4, and now this 5-wave cycle. And look how bad it got in the financial crisis in 2008. So here we are, minus 307. We're not even close, but the whole point is, I think something has changed, okay? Now, the other thing that I'm going to mention that I think has changed is on the VIX. And I've talked about this. I said, well, you know, we've got this wedge that's declining in here. It looks like pressure is just building up. It's compressing. You could just feel it. It's compressing. It's getting lower and lower and lower. And then all of a sudden, it explodes out of this wedge. And it explodes like it did this week. We just closed at the highest close since November, the week ending November 4th, 2016. And we broke, it's also hit the highest range, you know, in terms of where it hit during the week, the highest since that entire time. All of that time, we just closed above that. And so now, yeah, could we pause next week? Yeah. Could we pull back a little bit next week? Yeah. Do I think something's changed, something different's going on? Yes. Okay. So, you know, I mention this because, and there's a lot of other things that are happening. The high yield bond fund, the put to call ratios. There's just indicator after indicator after indicator is showing that something has significantly changed. Let's talk quickly about let's talk about some stocks that really moved on Friday. These are all part of the Dow Industrials. Look how Apple was down 7.28 on Friday. You know, on Tuesday in that breakdown, it tried to get support in the support zone. I had identified this and I had tweeted about this. And then it bounced just a little bit, but it just couldn't hold it. And it broke right back down through that support zone. So where's it going to get support now? I would guess down here, 155, 156, close this gap, this small gap that we got here. If that doesn't hold, we'll be looking at this low back down to the September low. So we'll watch and see what happens with Apple. I mean, it's gone along, you know, pretty far, pretty quick. And the market is significantly oversold. There is no doubt. Could we bounce on Monday? Yeah. You know, am I saying this is the end of the bottom? No, not at all. I don't believe it is. But short term, could we bounce because we've gotten so extreme? Yes, absolutely. ExxonMobil, look how it came down to this trend line. It's a trend line from August, so let's call it, 5-month trend line. It broke below it in terms of the trading on Friday. It stayed above it on the close, closed right at the 55-week moving average. And actually, I just realized I've got a filter on. Wow, that changes things a little bit. I've got that filter that kicks in as soon as the sun sets, and it kind of dims my screen. To help the eyesight in the evening, so you're not getting all that blue light and everything. And so I've got that thing that kicks on. And I kind of forget about it, so I apologize about that. So here's the picture on ExxonMobil. And then the last one is Chevron, another Dow stock. And boy, this one shattered the trend line that had been in since the summer, July. Just shattered it, down $6, almost $7 on Friday. And pretty big move to the downside. Actually, a little surprising with some of these. You know, these were both earnings related, okay? But the energy ETF, it sold off pretty big on Friday or this week too. And really, oil has stayed fairly solid so far anywhere. West Texas holding around $65 a barrel. So we'll see how that plays out. But those are three things that are going on. And yeah, do I think something has changed in here? Absolutely. So we'll see what happens this coming week. If you found like the video was helpful, if you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. And remember to share the video and head on over to my website and check out the things I've got for you over there also. All right, everyone, have a wonderful week. We'll see how it plays out and enjoy the Super Bowl.